Okay, I'm going to play the drum.
Sorry?
Traditionally by men. Here goes.
Thank you, Micah. Everyone's applauding. We're really grateful. So let me try my welcome first. Welcome, and thank you so much for joining us with us today from Pond Inlet. And we've already seen where it's located on Baffin Island in Nunavut. And I'm so happy that you started with the drum, and I'm hoping maybe you can tell us a little bit about the drum now and its role in your culture.
I don't usually play publicly, and I'm not an expert drum player. Yes, I'll talk about the traditional drum. It's called kilaut. So the prefix of kilaut, the traditional drum, is kilak. So kilak means, the definition of kilak is heaven. So this, according to Inuit traditional oral tradition, it has been transferred for many generations and has been used for many centuries until we were colonized. It was initially, we were not allowed to use the traditional drum, pilaut, and use our language as well. But we were able to reconcile and reintroduced again. It was always being used even underground or whatever. When it was not allowed to use, they were still used it outside on the land. But this is pilaut. Initially, it was made from whale and wood and hide, usually from caribou or seal skin from very fine leather from seal skin that has been de-haired and cleaned up. Thank you. If there's any questions, I can try and answer. Or
Yes.
if you want me to repeat or clarify, I'm able to do that as well. Thank you.
Okay, so we had a few questions. You mentioned being colonized. When did that happen in Pond Inlet? When did the colonizers come?
Well, like I said when I introduced myself, my name is Micah Arreak, but it's pronounced Arreak in Inuktitut. But my Inuktitut name is Ulayo, which is my great grandmother's name, Ulayo, and our Inuktitut names were not allowed, so we had been using names from the Bible. So Micah is from the Bible, but I'm named after my cousin that had passed on as a child. So they named me Micah as well. So um, I can't remember the question. I'm
Oh,
sorry, I didn't have anything prepared at all.
that's okay. We'll ask you questions and then you can just answer them as best you can. We just want to learn a little.
Oh yes, about the colonization. I was initially
Yeah.
born Inuit because we were nomadic people. We traveled places and roamed free. The government gave us E5 numbers. There were different numbers for different regions. So I was born in the E5 region. So my number is E5 1772. That's I was born Melka E5 1772. And so any Inuit that was born before 1970 have these numbers as well as regular legal names and Inuktitut names. And Inuit that were born after 1970 do not have these numbers. So
Did you,
um,
did
so
you say
after 1970, the communities
1970?
they started becoming established in after 1970. The Inuit from the camps were relocated to these existing communities today. Thank you.
So it was in 1970 that they came and they took the kids away, I guess, to go to school. Is
Yes,
that
that is what happened. It depended on if they were Catholic or Anglican. So if they were with Catholic, they were sent to different orphanages or different residential schools. So they also established federal day schools in these communities as well. So we were taught in federal day school initially. Then after federal day school, they were able to establish regular elementary schools up to grade 9. But now they have high school in the communities up to grade 12. But you're able to go to larger centers to for secondary school, for example, college, university, or in other parts of the country.
so it's wonderful. There's actually up to grade 12 now in Pond.
Yes, for many years since 1990s.
That's awesome. Where my family is in Cumberland House, they still have to go away to finish high school. So talk to us a little bit
I'm
about
sorry.
food. Talk to us a little bit about food. We're going to be eating some food today, as you and I have discussed, and we're interested, as all human beings are. Tell us a bit about, if I was to live in Pond Inlet today, what would I be eating, and where would my food come from, and just
Yeah, it depends. It depends on your preference. I guess you can still, even if you're a vegetarian, you can still live in the communities because there's store-bought goods and fresh produce and so on. But there's also country food that is available, like caribou, polar bear, or seal meat. But it depends on the seasons of the year. We also have Inuit year, which consists of five different seasons, I believe. So I haven't talked about that, but you can Google it and find out for yourself.
So, do you, I guess through the Northern store, you put in a big order once a year and get the main staples of your food? Is that correct?
Oh,
Or
it depends. Yeah, it depends. It depends. Like if you're a teacher, or if you're an RCMP officer, or if you're, you can order in bulk and they come into the sea lift. But if you don't do that, then you're able to buy from local stores like Northern Store. Every community has a Northern Store in these Nunavut communities, and there's also Co-op, which is Co-op. Some communities have the Co-op, but they have members. So it is. They also have locally controlled committee that look after the stores. So yeah, we receive food from the ship, and then also it's flown in like fresh produce every week. So if there's no flights, then we don't get fresh produce. So just think of that, winter time, sometimes we have a hard time getting fresh produce, and we're so lucky to have fresh produce here flown to these communities. So it's good, but the prices are a bit higher. But we do receive some compensation to the government staples. So thank you.
so
I hope I answered your question.
So yeah, I was just thinking, though, you're talking about fresh produce, like that would have to fly a long way, I think, doesn't it? How much would a head of lettuce cost me?
There's a reform debate that is given by the government to these stores. So I cannot tell you because.
Oh, okay.
Yeah. So if there's healthy food, then there's some debate given. But if it's not, if it's unhealthy, then like cigarettes and pop and those items are in higher prices. So, for instance, one little pop is like sometimes $5 before the ship comes in, but now it's $2, 2.52 per pop in Pond Inlet.
So I think that's because of the subsidies in part, because there's subsidies for food. So I don't know.
Yes, there's subsidies for healthy produce or products, but items, but if they're not healthy, then the price is way up. Like cigarettes, one pack of cigarettes is like $25.99 or something.
Tell us a little more about the country food or traditional food sources. Like, are there like just certain hunters in the community, or does everybody go fishing? Like how do we get the country food?
Well, depending on the season, during the spring run or when fall time comes, then there's different times of the year when it's exciting to fish, because also on the seasons with the caribou. You can fish them most of the time throughout the year, but they too migrate south and so forth. But the seal, the seal is always available all throughout the year. So there's always seal hunting or ptarmigan hunting. Rabbits and those Arctic animals are always around, especially ravens. Our ravens, Arctic ravens, are huge compared to the crow down south.
So you and I had talked a little before about Inukshuk, and you were going to talk to us about Inuksuk. Sorry, I think I said it wrong. And its role in the Arctic today, because something we can all recognize.
Yeah, Inukshuks are different. Inukshuks, the famous Inukshuk is the Inuk shape, but there's other variety of Inukshuks. We call them different names. We don't all call them Inukshuks. We also call them by the way they are put together. Like if you use for fishing in a lake, they put two big rocks, like an Inukshuk, two stones beside a lake where there's the best bite for fish. That's an example. And also they put stone Inukshuks along where caribou migrates, so that the Inukshuks can be used for hunting, and also they could be used for past history when there has been death around that area. They have put Inukshuks there, but there's also different Inukshuks that Inuit have used, but you cannot read them if you don't know the information on the rocks, how they are stacked together on the land. Someone can read them. Hunter can read them if they know the meaning of the stones, the way they are put together.
Very cool. Does anybody here have anything they'd like to ask? Any questions?
What about employment if young people get out of school? What about jobs?
So this is a good question, a practical one. What's happening today with jobs in the community, and where are young people finding employment?
Well, the jobs are always available. You just need to look for them. But in larger centers like Iqaluit, which is the hub of Nunavut, there's plenty of work, but you just have to make an effort. There's jobs, always jobs like nurses, teachers, RCMP, plumbers, electricians, Inuktitut teachers, and so forth. There's also businesses that people start. Inuit, some of the Inuit have their own companies, run their own companies, and there has been successful businesses as well as Inuit women that also have skills in making traditional clothing or kamiks or other garments related to Inuit clothing, Inuit traditional clothing that is also you can purchase, or even books that has been produced by Inuit in Inuktitut or English are available, or in French. There's many books that has been produced by Inuit of Nunavut, so they're available online as well as in Iqaluit and in major stores in Iqaluit, such as Arctic Ventures, or in any library. I think they are now available.
So you mentioned that there are like jobs inequality and then, so is it possible that young people have to be prepared to move to other northern communities to find work?
I'm not they have more opportunities than
Okay.
I was when I was young, when I was a youth. Today youth have access to internet, so like Zoom and other things that they have access to, so they can be in this community and yet become, you know, participants in things like this one.
We have another question from the audience that there, there, there was a sense that maybe language could have been lost. And how is language learning happening today? Traditional language.
Good. It could always be improved because there's not real Inuktitut curriculum that is written in stone. So each of the schools mostly develop their own curriculum with support from community education councils and other Inuit facilitators or consultants that help. But they're like our language hasn't really changed, but there has been more exposure to different dialects as well. So Inuktitut has changed, like our alphabet from the old system to the new system. We are now using the new Inuktitut writing system, which consists of 52 characters. So there's from I, U, A, which is syllabics, but there's syllabics, chunks, characters, and there's also Roman orthography that you would be able to read. So, for example, if my name is Micah, it's spelled Micah, but in Roman orthography, which is Inuktitut, it would be spelled the way it is pronounced. So Maika. That would be written in Roman orthography, which would be Maika.
Very cool. So a couple of questions that came up earlier. One was, how many people live in Pond Inlet today?
According to 2015 or 2016 statistics, it was 1,800. But from last year's statistics for 2022, there was 2,041 people.
So even more than what I saw, which was 1,270.
Mm-hmm.
That's cool. Now I have another question.
That was probably from the last Canadian statistics.
Okay.
The population in the Google.
So it's good to see the community is actually growing and people are staying.
Yes.
So
we have the sunshine back, so everybody is doing a lot of activities at spring activities and so forth. There's going to be an exchange trip from Greenland with the Inuit there, and there's also going to be hockey tournament to Arctic Bay, and there's also going to be a dance competition in Inuktitut dance as well starting tomorrow. So these are very exciting events for our community.
that's wonderful. I have a question. Why are we eating frozen spam today with our bannock?
Yeah, it's a funny story. Spam, usually when we go on the land, we bring spam during springtime. So we had accustomed to eating it on the land frozen. So when we go back to the community, um, if we crave for it, so we also eat it frozen. With that times when we crave for frozen food like caribou meat. So
Very
it's a
cool.
good way of eating it frozen, so that we can use it, eat it with bannock or other crackers, biscuits.
That's, well, we made bannock here this morning using your recipe from your cookbook. And we have our frozen spam and we have some jam. Is that okay?
Yes, of course. It's also excellent with honey or butter.
Oh, well, we got some margarine and there's some crystallized honey hanging around too. So we can enjoy that as well. And we had a big pot of
All
blueberry
right.
tea.
Yeah,
So
you found my cookbook,
I did buy your
our
cookbook.
cookbook.
It's beautiful.
Oh.
I might have to mail it to you and get you girls to sign it for me and then you can mail it back to me.
Oh.
It's beautiful.
There were four other ladies that helped with
Yeah.
the cookbook when I lived in Inuit. There was Annie Dislet, myself, and Lucy Capiana, and her mother, and it's right on the cookbook. If you can write, maybe read the names of those other girls, it would be helpful. It's not in
Well,
front of me.
I'm going to review. I bought it on Amazon and I'll review it on Amazon because it is just beautiful. And the thing that I loved about the recipes are, although there are some ingredients that we might not have access to, in fact, it's very simple recipes like the bannock, and can be made from staples that we keep in our homes. So it's a beautiful, the pictures are just beautiful though, and the recipes are delightful. So thank you so much for doing that. And had we not been talking about bannock recipes, you and I would not have known you did a cookbook. You're a very humble woman, my friend.
Oh, yeah. It's always best to stay humble, because you never know how others are feeling. They might have lost someone very dear to them, and they don't talk about it.
It's true, isn't it? It's very true. Well, is there any questions left from the audience? Oh, Alice has a question.
And Micah teaches how to say goodbye in Inuit, so we could say goodbye.
There's a good question. I don't know if you heard that. Can you teach us how to say goodbye in Inuktitut so that we can say goodbye to you properly?
Yes, of course. Kuyan na may tabawuti. Tabawuti,
Devoute?
farewell. Tabawuti.
Devoute?
Tabawuti. So
Devoute.
there's four.
Syllable.
Tabawuti.
Okay, does everybody want to try?
Yeah.
Devoute?
Kuyan nami means thank you. Kuya nami. Kuyan nami. Thank you.
A big thank you to you for taking the time out of your day and for supporting us in this path so that we could bring a little bit of pond inlet here to Calgary, Alberta on this beautiful sunny Saturday afternoon.
Yes, I'm so happy and honored to do this. Thank you so much.
Thank you so much. And I'll check in with you later.
All right. Bye.
All right.
Tabawuti.
Bye.
Tabawuti.
Devote. Okay, good. Well, sorry for the technical that we had, folks.
Just stop the recording first,
Oh,
so we don't lose it.
there we go. I hope that you enjoyed hearing